Open a picnic basket, lift it up, reach in, yep, yummy pancakes. There's the chipmunk, sticky and sweet. Whoa, you grab the food, toss it in his mouth, under the blanket, oatmeal, under the tree, behind the snowboard, on top of the tree, in the snowman, inside of the snowboard, pancakes with syrup, oatmeal, blueberries, chicken noodle soup, chili, beef stew, slice of apple pie, cup of tea. Look how big his cheeks are, sin, drinking it. Whoa, oh, what? Oh no, oh no, oh, the chipmunk stuck in his acorns. Whoa, look at those, chili snowboarding, that is so cool. There we go. Hi everyone, we have a brand new story featuring one of our favorite little furry friends. Introducing Chompin Chipmunk's Snowy Day, illustrated and created by GoGo Speech. This activity will give you so many opportunities to work on your kids' speech and language skills during an acorn-filled picnic in the snow. It is very similar in structure to the original Chompin Chipmunk and our Chompin Chipmunk at the Beach story. So it's going to elicit a ton of language from your kids. We are going to pull out a bunch of different tasty food items from the basket, and we're going to feed them to the sneaky chipmunk whenever he comes close enough to eat them. And just like the other Chompin Chipmunk activities, every time he eats another food item, his cheeks are going to get bigger and bigger. So we're going to see what happens when his cheeks get too big at the end. This is a one resource activity that you can use with all of your kids by adjusting your presentation of it to target their goals. Like our other activities, you can use this resource as a tool to work on a wide range of speech and language skills. It's a really great activity for working on prepositions because we are going to see the chipmunk move all around the scene. You can pick some repetitive phrases and verbal routines to use throughout that include target sounds and language goals to get lots of trials in. So I'm just going to quickly go through to show you what it looks like and provide you with some ideas on how you can use it in your sessions. We're going to start off with our magic doors, and you can see if your kids can guess what it's going to be about. Open! Whoa, so much snow! So you guys can describe what you see. We have a picnic basket and a warm blanket. I know what we're doing today. We are going to have a picnic. So now is a good time to fill the kids in on the storyline. So you can go ahead and tell them that this isn't just any old picnic though. I heard that this was an extra special spot where a cute little chipmunk lives, and I think he might come out if we're really nice to him. So I brought some foods in the basket that I thought he might really like. Now I heard he's super quick and kind of shy, so we have to work really hard to try to get him to come out and play with us. Do you think it's gonna work? All right, we're gonna try. So make sure you take some time to discuss what you see in the distance, and you can prompt the child to help tell you what to do. So they might say, go closer, go by the tree, or by the snowman, logs, snow fort, let's set up our picnic. Here we go, through the snow. So just making sure to use language and sounds that addresses your kids' goals. All right, now we're all set up. Now what do we have to do? Do you see the chipmunk yet? I don't either. All right, open the basket, lift it up. Still no chipmunk. So this is where you're going to start reaching into the basket to pull up the food items. And for each of the food items, you are going to pretend to reach in with your hand, reaching in and pulling it out. So if you're using this in person, you can have the child pretend to reach into a magic bucket or a magic bag. So every time they pull their hand out, something appears on top of the basket. So it's like they're magically pulling it out. And then if you're virtual and using a green screen, I already have green on the back of my chair, so I can just reach behind my chair and it looks like I'm reaching into the basket. You can also just prompt the child to use magic words to get it to appear from the basket. So in this part, you can prompt your kids to use certain language that addresses their goals. So maybe they'll help you reach in, grab the food, pull it up, or pick it up. Whoa, look at those yummy pancakes. So you describe the pancakes. You can pretend your hand is really sticky and icky after touching it. Then you can see if your kids can notice that the chipmunk popped up in the background. There's the chipmunk. I bet he came out because he smells the food. So you can call him Chippy the chipmunk, or you can give him a name that includes your child's speech sounds. You can greet the chipmunk. You can have your kids introduce themselves to make the chipmunk feel more comfortable because we know he's really shy. Now for each food item, you're going to talk about what it tastes like, what it smells like, feels like, what parts it has. Is it sweet? Is it salty, sticky, juicy, chewy, crunchy, warm, or cold? And you can use the GoGo Speech food describing visual as a guide to address all of those different descriptive categories. And throughout the story, you can tell your kids that whenever they talk about the food, it makes the chipmunk even hungrier. And when he's really hungry, he might come closer to us so he can eat the food. So this can be a great opportunity to work in tasks that address your kids' goals before moving to the next slides. The chipmunk is behind the logs. Pancakes are soft. Where'd the chipmunk go? He's on the blanket. He got closer. I wonder what else we can say about the pancakes. Or you can talk about the syrup. The syrup is sticky and sweet. Whoa, he's so big. All right, maybe we can think of one more thing about these pancakes to get him to open his mouth. Then we can feed it to him. Pancakes are round. We did it! He opened his mouth. So an alternative thing you can do if you're working on just speech sounds, you could also have the child complete a certain number of target words or tasks to make the chipmunk move closer each time. But I definitely do recommend prompting the child to work in words that go along with the story, like come closer. So again, you can think of lots of other things to say about the pancakes. They feel squishy, they're a breakfast food, there's butter on top. So when the chipmunk opens his mouth, you are going to prompt your kids to help you feed him the food item. Grab the food, pick up the food, throw it in his mouth, toss it in. And as I mentioned in the previous Chompin' Chipmunk stories, you can also include a big fork and a spoon as props to help you feed the chipmunk. You can also have your kids tell you which utensil would be best to use for the food item. So you can pretend to grab the food and toss it in. It's in his mouth. Your kids can say, chew the food. Don't forget to swallow it. Wait, where did he go? So immediately after feeding the chipmunk a food item, he's going to quickly escape to hide in the scene. So you can see if your kids can find the chipmunk for you and tell you where he is. He's under the blanket. And then you can suggest to your kids that you guys pull up another food item from the basket. We better get some more food for him. Let's see if there's anything else in there. Reach in. And you can have your kids tell you to feel around. See if anything's in there. Another way to do this with your kids is you could describe some features of the food item that you're looking around for if you know what's coming up next, and you can see if they can guess it. Pick it up. Whoa, I think it's oatmeal, or you can call it cereal, hot cereal with blueberries. Whoa, the chipmunk is in front of the basket. So like I said before, this is really great for working on prepositions. So you can make some really great sentences based on where the chipmunk is located in the scene. He's going to be moving all around. So make sure you're addressing all of that as you see them in the story. Between the logs, under the tree, behind the snow fort, on top of the tree, under the blanket, in the snowman. Where is he now? Behind the tree. Inside of the snow fort. He broke out of it. And all of the acorn-filled foods and drinks include the following. We have pancakes with syrup, oatmeal with blueberries, chicken noodle soup, chili or bean soup. Whoa, he's really close to us, and his cheeks are getting really big. Beef stew, a slice of apple pie, and a cup or mug of tea. And all of the food items are warm, so you can discuss how it might be warming up the chipmunk in this cold weather. And you can also talk to your kids about what they like to eat when it's really cold outside. So as you can see, the chipmunk's cheeks get really big toward the end because each time he eats a new food item, his cheeks grow bigger. So it's kind of fun to see if your kids can notice that they're growing bigger as the story goes on. Look how big his cheeks are now. Why are his cheeks getting bigger? And as the story goes on, you can say things like, oh no, his cheeks are getting a little too big. Uh-oh. So maybe you could say the acorns are floating. He got closer. It's a type of drink. He opened his mouth. I don't know if we need a fork or a spoon. Let's pour it in. Grab the handle or grab the cup or mug and pour it in his mouth or toss it in. He's drinking it. Whoa. So after drinking all of the acorn tea, the scene is going to zoom in on the chipmunk with his cheeks really big. He's so happy. He was able to eat lots of yummy foods today. I think he really likes us. I know he was kind of shy before, but I think we're friends now. Uh-oh. Is something wrong? Why do you think the chipmunk is making this face? What? Acorns? Oh no! Oh no! I think he had too many acorns in his cheeks. Oh no! How did he get all of these acorns in his mouth? Uh-oh. So having your body disappear like this is an optional part of the activity. This is just if you're using it as a green screen activity in a virtual setting. So you would just cover your body with green material to pretend like you're stuck in the acorns. And then you can have the kids try to help to get you out. So maybe they'll say a magic word or a magic phrase to help you break out of the acorns. Or you can just say, the whole scene is covered with acorns. How are we going to get rid of them? I can't believe this silly chipmunk. I don't know how he fit all of these in his cheeks. Maybe he was saving them for later. What is it? The chipmunk? What is he doing? He thinks it's so funny that he made this huge pile of acorns. Or if you're stuck in the acorns with the green screen, you can say, he thinks it's so funny that he got me stuck in this pile of acorns. Or maybe he's just really happy because his mouth isn't packed with acorns anymore. So for this part, you can just use the arrow keys on your keyboard to go back and forth between these two slides to make him dance. Whoa, look out, Chipmunk. An avalanche? Flying snow? Whoa, washing away all the acorns. Acorns are floating in the snow. What do you see? The chipmunk is snowboarding. He is so cool. So you can have the chipmunk snowboard on by. Whoa. And then you can go back with the arrow keys if you want to keep going back and forth with the chipmunk snowboarding. Whoa, that is so cool. There he goes. He can even go backwards. He is really good at snowboarding. Whoa. And then the wave of snow runs out and everything is back to normal. So you can either end the activity here or you can start all over by going back to the same slide in the beginning of the story and doing it all again. So you'll click into that slide in the beginning and you lift up the basket again and you can start pulling out foods again. If you're signed up as a GoGo member, you will also get access to some printable PDFs that go along with this activity. So you'll get a printout of each of the food items that we pull out of the basket. To go along with that, you will also get a printout of the chipmunk with his earmuffs on, so you can cut a hole out for the mouth and you can feed the chipmunk each time we feed it in the game. And then you can also use this activity to keep the play going after you do the story with them. The last printable for this story is a sequencing sheet where the child can cut out all the food items at the bottom of the page and then glue them to the page in order as the chipmunk eats them throughout the story. So these printable PDFs for GoGo members can be used in person or they can be emailed over to the parents to be used during your virtual sessions. I hope you all have so much fun with this one and get tons of language in your sessions. These Chompin' Chipmunk activities have been big hits with the kids, so we're really excited for you guys to enjoy this one with them. I'll see you all next time. Bye!